Hey everybody, Peter here, coming at you again from the shores of the Chesapeake Bay on a beautiful day here. Now, I'm going to start off by asking you a question. What does pruning a tree have to do with creating the ideal life that you want to live? Now, at first glance, you might be saying, not much, but these two things are not as disconnected as you might think, at least metaphorically speaking. So let me explain what I mean. Today I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about something called the Pruning Shears of Revision. Now, the Pruning Shears of Revision is a concept that I got from a wonderful author named Neville Goddard in his book Seed Time and Harvest. If you're not familiar with Neville Goddard, I highly recommend his works. Really amazing stuff that'll help you to very quickly create the life that you really want to live. Now, Pruning Shears of Revision. What did Neville Goddard mean by that? Well, basically the concept is that you can go back and revise anything that didn't work out quite the way you wanted to in your life. And you do this by using your mental faculty of imagination. So the idea is that, let's say something happened today that you didn't like. You can, right before you go to sleep at night, just go into your imagination. Before you fall asleep, just reimagine it. Play act like you were a child and reimagine that day working out exactly the way you would have wanted it to, if it were ideal. You can also do this with events that happened to you in the past. Now, let me explain with an example of something that I unwittingly did, about 8 years ago, that utilized the Pruning Shears of Revision. So, as some of you already know from my previous videos, I live in a nice little seaside town in Maryland, right on the shores of the Chesapeake Bay. Always wanted to live near the water, and one day I found this beautiful community, brand new houses being built, and I had never owned a house before, but I decided I wanted to have one of these houses. So over time, I chose a house model, I chose a lot, I talked to the sales agent, I got past my nervousness and my fear, I put down my down payment, and construction started on my house. The day that construction started, I got a call on my phone from the engineer who said, "Peter, we need you to come down here to the site." Came down to the site. He said, "I'm very sorry, but it looks like we made a miscalculation. We're not going to be able to build your house on this lot. It's just not going to fit. We're so sorry." My first thought was, wow, this is really what I wanted. Now what? So as time went on here, a little bit later during that day, the engineer got back in touch with me, asked me to come back and said, "I have one more lot that's left that your house can fit on." I looked at the lot. Frankly, in my opinion, it was awful. It was at the top of a T intersection. It had some sort of weird drainage thing in the backyard. It had other houses behind it that were looking right into my yard. I did not want that at all. So I went back home and I thought, what am I going to do? Now, friends gave me advice, and a lot of that advice was, file a lawsuit, see if you can get your money back. And somehow inside, I knew that all I had to do was to just go into my imagination and connect with the idea, both mentally and emotionally, with the idea of having the right house in the right neighborhood, in the right location, at the right time. And so I started envisioning. I just pictured the engineer saying, "Here's a beautiful lot." I pictured myself in that beautiful home with wonderful neighbors. I actually really wanted to live on a cul-de-sac, which was quiet, so I pictured myself on that cul-de-sac. And all the time, I kept thinking and feeling and envisioning right house, right location, right neighborhood, right time. I had a sense of calm that came over me. And I've got to tell you, the amazing thing that happened within about 3 days of doing this. Within about 3 days, I got a call from the sales agent in the model home for this community. She said, "Peter, I'd like you to stop by the model home because I have something that I want to share with you." I said, "Okay, fine." Her name was Barbara. I said, "Fine, Barbara, no problem." I drove to the model home. And Barbara said, "Peter, somebody just got out of their contract with a really nice lot on a cul-de-sac. Now, I got to tell you, your house is not going to fit on this lot, but why don't you move up to another house?" The house was 2 sizes bigger than the one that I wanted to build. And of course, my paradigms in my mind said, Barbara, I think it's going to be too big." She said, "You know what? I have one that just got the drywall put in. Why don't you come and take a look at it? I'll walk you through it. Don't think it's going to be as big as you think." I walked through it. immediately fell in love with it, but kept saying, "Oh my gosh, Barbara, it's too big, it's too big, it's too big." Barbara said to me, "I don't think it's going to be any bigger than the original house you wanted to build," because I had bumped out the house and made the original one a little bigger. Well, long story short, I went back to the model home with Barbara. Barbara actually did a few calculations and said, "Peter, your house, if you buy this bigger house right out of the box without expanding anything, your house is going to be exactly the same square footage." It was exactly 3,700 square feet, which was exactly the size of the house I was going to build with all of the bump outs that I had put on it. So I got a much better house, a much nicer laid out house that I love even more, on a much, much, much better lot, on a quiet cul-de-sac, backed by acres and acres of beautiful woods. I have deer and wildlife that come into my yard, wonderful neighbors, and it all worked out. So in hindsight, how did that work out? By using the pruning shears of revision, by not looking at what's presenting, by going into my imagination on a regular basis. This was something I did morning, evening, and whenever I could think of it during the day, and just imagining and feeling what it was that I wanted. In this case, right house, right neighborhood, right location, and all of that working out perfectly. Without any effort on my own, without any trouble, it all worked out beautifully, perfectly, easily, and effortlessly. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I encourage you, be like a scientist in your own laboratory. Don't take my word for it. Go ahead and give this a try for something that you would like to revise and have turn out the way that you would ideally like it. And draw your own conclusions, get your own results. And let me know here in the comments how that works out for you. I love hearing your success stories. Now, I'm also going to extend you an invitation. If you'd like to learn more about these concepts and about how to create that wonderful, limitless lifestyle, that's what you really want, not just what you think is reasonable or what you're settling for, but what you really want, I invite you to join my Facebook group. It's open to everybody, and you can find it at facebook.com/groups/limitless lifestyle quest. You're also welcome to book a discovery call with me. We can talk all about what it is that you want to create in your life and some ways that you can make that happen faster than you ever thought possible. So if you'd like to book a call with me, just go to the description and you'll see the link to my booking calendar there. Those calls are fun, they're free, they're all about you. It's essentially a free coaching call. I love doing them, so it would be my pleasure to do one of those for you as well. That's all I wanted to say today, everybody, in this impromptu video. Wanted to share that tool with you. Let me know how it works for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.